And I had to host an event an hour later about advocating for mental health for the students.
While the school's still in lockdown? Hey there, everybody. My name is Rooster Quade, and I am the host for the On One podcast, where we talk about real shit with real people. Now, if you don't know who I am, I go by the name of Rowdy Rooster, and I am an award-winning traveling tattoo artist based out of the East Coast. Before we can get started, I just want to say really quickly, thank you so much to our sponsor, Industry Inks, as well as to everyone who's helped us get this podcast started. It's those interviews and those constant support that allowed us to do this. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Perfect. Hi, everybody. Welcome to On One. My name is Rooster Quade Trocht, and today we have with us...
I'm Jamie Roballo.
And we are On One. Hi, I haven't seen you in so long.
Oh my God, it's been like 2 years, genuinely.
Minus the hour and a half we sat here in the lobby, trying so hard not to catch up. How have you been?
I have been fabulous. I moved from South Coast Massachusetts to Washington, D.C. Last August.
What are you doing down there?
I am getting my master's degree in school psychology. I'm studying at Howard University, HU. That's funny for a lot of people who are not white.
So, all of my demographic.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll bring some new viewers.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if anybody who's ever gone to Howard says HU, you gotta say, you know, and it's how you recognize people who are in the cult.
Got it, okay.
But that was something that I learned about when I was like 12 or 13. And I had only recently discovered that I was black when I was 12 or 13. That's another fun story.
Okay.
And I was like, wait, oh my God, it's community. It is recognizing people who belong to you in this way that I kind of never knew was possible.
We just adopted a little boy. His name is Bo, and he just turned 4 months, but we adopted him like a couple days after he was born. We just finalized paperwork, but he is half black. And he is going to know that he's adopted from the get-go. Is he also not going to know he's black until he hits a certain age?
So...
These are important questions.
It is an important question.
Yeah.
My father was in my life at the time. I'm also half black. He's the half.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it took me a long time. I did a science experiment.
Okay.
Long story short, we did stuff with hair. And I said, oh, why is there a star next to my name on the board? And my mother said, well, it's because you're African American. And I said, oh my God, no way. I came running in the house and I said, Dad, did you know we're African American? And my Rastafarian ass father, with locks down to here, looks at me and goes, no, really?
That's amazing.
So trying to figure out how to connect to that sense of identity has been kind of a lifelong project.
And this university that you're at, do you feel that?
Yes, Howard is an HBCU, so a historically black college / university. There's like 3 white people on the whole campus.
When I was growing up, there was a couple years where we had to move to Maryland. We were in between a lot of shit. A lot of things were happening on in my family. But we lived with my Uncle Paul and my Aunt Nikki, and we were in Maryland, and I was one of like 15 white kids at all in our school.
The school that I work in, I think we have 1 white kid per grade, and everyone knows their name, not because they're in trouble or anything, but just because, oh yeah, that's Jean. And Jean says, how do you know my name? And I go, well, you're White Jean. Everybody knows White Jean.
You're White Jean.
She's great. We love her.
Yeah. Oh, so my sister-in-law's name is also Jean, but she goes by Uncle Jean because my eldest daughter, Eden, understood that uncle was a position of someone who was related to mom or dad.
That's
darling. And so learned everybody was uncle because all I have is guys in my family, and my wife has a brother as well, Uncle Will. And so when we met Jean, it was Uncle Jean, and Jean still goes by Uncle Jean to this day.
That's darling.
Which is very confusing for those people who don't know that Jean is also a girl's name.
Yep.
And then when Jean shows up, they're like, who are you? And we're like, I'm Uncle Jean. Oh, got it. Yeah.
The way that kids understand the world is so fascinating and wonderful. My littlest brother, we have a huge age gap. We're like 16 years apart.
So your parents really love each other.
Cute joke.
Yeah.
He thought, I have pink hair. I have since I was 12. It's been a long time.
Forever, yeah.
My mom has purple hair. And so he thought that in order to be a girl, you had to have hair that was an interesting color.
Oh.
For a really long time.
Yeah.
And then she was my brother at the time. My sister came out as trans and immediately dyed her hair purple.
And so now it definitely is locked in.
Yes.
Definitely locked in the narrative.
Yeah.
How old is he now?
He's 7.
Oh, so he's still learning the ins and outs of how people and things work.
Yes.
That's amazing.
He's a fascinating child.
They all are. I know, like, just from like, obviously having like kids and also like having like little siblings and stuff like that. Because I'm the oldest of like so many freaking cousins. It's ridiculous. I have like one sister who's younger than me too. But I know that like having kids has been completely different than just being like the eldest in a large family of cousins and stuff like that. And each child is so different and so uniquely better at different things. It is a lot of fun to watch how each of their minds kind of work differently.
And so I've worked in education for like 5 years. I'm getting my master's degree in school psychology, which is like educational mental health. It is looking at how people learn and what the best way is to make that education accessible to them as an individual.
So when you say accessible, are you referring to financial, or are you referring to like for me, I grew up with ADHD and it was really hard. I took medication for it and everything like that. But my biggest thing was they only taught one way. And for me, that didn't fucking work. And for like my cousin and a lot of my friends who I can name, like Jake Bracewell, my cousin Garrett, we all had ADHD or ADD and we took medicine for it and everything like that, but we still struggled in school. No matter how we did it, the schools only taught one way. Is that what you're referring to when you say accessible?
Yes. Okay. So you guys would have been the kids that I'd be working with now. I work in a middle school. Shout out to Ida B. Wells Middle School in Washington, D.C. It's the best.
Well, we should have tagged them. They'll appreciate that. They're like, this guy's podcast is horrible.
Oh yeah. They'll hate you. It'll be great.
It'll be great.
And so the kids who come through my office are kids with dyslexia, kids with ADHD, kids who have conduct disorder, and so they get in trouble a lot, but it's outside of their control. They can't build the impulse control skills that they need to keep themselves from pulling the fire alarm or throwing their chair or biting the kid next to them.
I would love that excuse to be like, I just had to do it. I had to do it.
I got some stories. We'll get into it. And so those kids, I have assessments that I put them through to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are, to figure out how they're processing the information that they're getting, because everybody processes these things differently.
Very different, yeah.
And then we also do an interview with them, an interview with their teachers, an interview with their parents. And then I go observe them in the classroom and see how they behave, because...
Is this something that you do, like, so I know you're going to school, you're going to your university to learn this stuff. Is this your job at a middle school right now, and is that associated with your degree, or is it separate?
Yeah. So as part of my degree, I have to do 3 semesters of practicum, which is like fully supervised. I'm in the field. It's learning.
It's like field work. Got it. So that's the school that you're assigned to, or did you get to choose it?
Well, okay. It is the school I'm assigned to. You got to put what you preferred, and I put that one down, and no one else wanted it because no one else wants middle school ever.
No.
So I got my first
Especially
choice.
when you look like a middle school, like a high schooler.
Yeah, thank you. I have to work in a high school next semester, and it's going to be terrible.
You're going to hate your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My mother goes, they're going to hit on you. I said, the middle schoolers hit on me now.
Yeah, the elementary schools also will do that. It doesn't matter where you go. Yeah. No, that's going to happen either way.
Yeah.
So you're going to these schools and you're doing these interviews, and you're conducting interviews with all of from the student to the mom, the parents, that whatever, and then also the student. What happens when you gather all this information? Do you then go and like process it and figure out, or do you go to the university? What are you doing?
So after that, my supervisor was absolutely incredible. She would let me actually do things instead of just watching her do them, which was a lot of faith to put in me as a second semester student.
Is that normal in this field?
It wildly varies. It depends on what your supervisor prefers, the amount of experience that you bring to the table, and I guess I can swear, right?
Yeah, no, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, great. I guess I consistently...
It depends if you want your students to watch this or their parents.
They have worse vocabularies than I do.
Perfect.
I guess I consistently didn't fuck up enough that she was like, oh, we can let Jamie do a whole thing. So she sat me down and she said, here's this student's records she transferred in. You're going to do everything. You're going to do all the assessments. You're going to do all of the paperwork. You're going to write the report. So there is a 48-page report with my name on it as the preliminary assessor.
Is 48 pages normal, or did you just get like really excited that you were doing your first one?
I got a little carried away.
Okay. I was going to say, because 48 pages, there's no way I'd read that if I was your supervisor. But also I shouldn't be in these fields.
And then once that's all together, we look at it and we say, okay, based on this information, this is what your processing speed looks like. This is what
how you retain information.
Information.
Like, I'm very visual. Everything has to be visual or it goes right out the ear.
Yeah. Here's what we even send them for hearing and visual tests that are done as free screenings within the school to say, oh, maybe you're processing things slower because your auditory processing is lower, and so auditory information that you're getting is not helpful to you.
Okay. So you gather all this information, you assess it, and then you're like, okay, this is their strengths, this is their weaknesses. How do you apply that? And especially, how do you apply it in someone else's classroom? Because that's the biggest thing. That has to be in what I imagine to be the hardest part. Because like, if you did this job in my middle school, and Miss Snyder was trying to teach me math, and you were like, you should do it like this, they would tell you to kick rocks. You know what I mean? So how do you take that information and actually put it to work? And how do you work with the teachers? Because I feel like that would be the hardest part. These teachers aren't trained to do this, or you wouldn't have a job.
Working with the teachers has actually been awesome. A lot of times students come to us because their teacher is what we call their case manager. And they will come to us and say, hey, this student, I'm going to say Melvin. He's one of my kids. Shout out Melvin. Melvin has been having difficulty. We can tell that he's not making progress at the same rate as his peers, and this has been a trackable problem, and so we would like to know why, and so I'm recommending him to you.
So the teacher's doing that part?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the teachers care.
The teachers care so much.
Okay, that's refreshing.
Yes,
especially in a middle school. Like, I might have had like a single teacher who gave a shit back in middle school, but the world's different now too. The world is a lot different in the sense that, like, I feel like when we went to school, there's a reason why these jobs are new and important, because no one cared about that. No one cared about any of that shit. You either did things the way that everybody else does, or you're broken.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to get into this, and specifically why I like middle school. Because you sucked in middle school, I sucked in middle school.
Yeah.
There's not a single person out there who looks back and goes, yeah, 5th through 8th grade was when I was at my best.
Oh no, I can name a few people who 5th through 8th grade was their peak years in their life, for sure. Yeah.
They're probably not doing great now,
they suck now, yeah.
But you had someone who believed in you and who said, hey, it's not gonna suck forever. And I'm gonna help you figure out ways to find out what you like and who you are and how you're going to go out into the world understanding those things, because that's gonna make all the difference.
I think that's beautiful. That would have been really fucking cool. That would have been really awesome to have. I think that, obviously we probably have different struggles and we came up from different ways, we had different support systems, but like, if I had had that, I probably would have actually pursued a career that didn't involve just the military. I probably would have thought, like, one, my parents probably would have been a little more involved, because I would have been retaining things. It wouldn't have been as much of a disappointment, so to speak. But I feel like from there, I would have been able to take my education and move forward with it. Because I ended up with a scholarship opportunity at OSU, and I never took it.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, school is already too fucking hard. I work so hard. I take medication for it. It makes me feel sick. I don't sleep. I don't eat, whatever. For me to then commit to another 6 years of architectural school would be insane for me to do that. On top of already do it, because I think I moved out pretty young. And then I finished high school while also doing a vocational degree. I don't think that if I had had the same support as like what you're being able to provide, I feel like school wouldn't have been such a daunting concept. And so I wouldn't have just been like, well, it's either the Army or nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would have been, but then again, I never would have gotten into this. So maybe you're preventing artists from ever becoming artists. You're the problem with the future.
You found my secret. I hate all things creativity. Yeah. I hate art, and I'm stomping it out by forcing children to go to college.
That's what we need. We need more kids dedicating their life funds to college debt. Speaking of debt, how much debt do you have? Can you say? Is it too much?
Once I finish, you're gonna hate this. Once I finish my master's degree, I'm gonna be looking at about 190.
190,000. Yeah, that's fun. The military doesn't sound so bad anymore. Instead of $190,000, it just broke my back for 7 years.
Oh, I was a Marines brat, and I looked at that and I said, no thanks.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, you say that. Were your parents like pro-military? Were they like, hey, if you want to go to the military, we totally support that? Or were they like, don't ever fucking do it?
Depended on the day.
It depended on the day.
My mother, very much no. My mother is and was a hippie skate park vegan.
Yeah, who's like, this Marine is gonna I'm gonna do it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And we see how well that worked out.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Spoiler alert, not great.
No?
No.
Are they not together?
Messy divorce.
Oh, I love those.
They're
How
going
old
to
were
court
you?
together.
Oh, so it's happening now.
Recent.
I made the joke earlier where I was like, oh, so your parents still love each other. Or they loved each other a lot if there was that big of a gap. That's good. That's cool. I did it when I was 5. My parents divorced. Oof. And they told me on my 5th birthday. My dad took me out.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it took me out when I was, they took me out to like Dave & Buster's or something like that. And we're like doing the water bump cars. And then on the way home, he's like, by the way, we're getting divorced and we got rid of your dog. And I was like, what?
Got rid of your dog?
Yeah, Spike. It's a black lab. So I was like, I'm just crying profusely. He's like, love you, buddy. Glad. And he like showed up to take me to my birthday. Like, I don't know where he was. He was off doing whatever he was doing. And he like showed up, took me to my birthday, brought me back to my uncle and my aunt's house.
Fun. I found out Christmas.
Yeah?
Yep. My mom and I were...
It's a good time to do that.
Oh, for sure. The rest of the kids were asleep, full of, sugar and whatever else children do on Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was playing Stardew Valley, because naturally. And my mom comes in and she's like, so, your father had an affair. We're getting a divorce. Merry Christmas.
Well, that's on the internet now.
Yeah.
But who cares?
Who cares?
So, fuck it. That's my mentality with a lot of stuff is like, I know that by asking people to be on here, especially if we're talking about like harder stuff, and in a lot of my stories, I'll intentionally leave out certain things like, I'm never going to drop the name of my first shop. But if you know who I am, you know where I went. They fucking suck. So there's a lot of people that I'm like, hey, do you want to talk about X, Y, Z? I understand that if you're out here, that might hit the person that you're referring to. And if you're comfortable with that, great. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to do that. And I was like, why? They fucked up. They were the piece of shit. Why not?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm glad you have that mentality. Well, people are going to throw plates and then they don't get mad when you yell at them. That's my favorite analogy.
I like that a lot. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so it's an analogy that I use a lot when like I feel like someone's done something and then I react and then I'm the bad guy for reacting. I'm always like, in a room where one person's throwing a plate and one person's yelling about the person throwing the plate, the fact that the person throwing the plate has the audacity to be like, why would you ever yell at me? It's like, you threw the plate. And that thing can't be undone. I can apologize for my words later. That plate's never going to come back together.
Yes.
So I think that's good. Call him out for his shit.
Yeah, and it's been interesting coming at the experiences that I have from a lens of, like, I have a degree in psychology. I'm a practicing psychologist. And there's kind of two...
How old are you?
22.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
What kind of degree is it?
I have a BA and I'm getting my master's in science.
Okay, so cool.
There's two lenses, and it's both every behavior is a communication. Right. Everything you do, whether you think about it or not, is conveying something, who you are, what you need, what it is that you're not getting.
That's something that I talk about a lot. I'm always like, right, I hear you, but what are you actually saying?
Yes.
Because like, what is the source? Because I've been going to therapy for a couple of years now, and therapy has been mind-blowingly amazing for me. It's been life-changing. But one of the things that my therapist, I've had 2 therapists now, both of them have said is they're like, the ability to be self-aware is incredibly powerful. But one of the things that I always notice is that they'll say something and immediately I'm like, I know exactly where you're going with this, because immediately what they're trying to figure out is what is at the source of what is being said or what is being done. And I've started to apply that a little bit more into like my relationships with my wife, my girlfriend, is like when something's being said, I'm like, I hear you, but why?
Yep.
Why do you feel that way? Why are we upset? Why are we doing X, Y, Z? Because sure, it's not to say that everything you're saying and everything you're feeling isn't valid, but I'm trying to say more of the fact that what is causing you to feel this way? Because sure, yeah, you're angry, and that's great. We can talk about that and deal with that. But if all we do is deal with the side effects of an illness, and we don't ever assess the illness, you're never going to get better. You know what I mean? You can continue to take migraine medication all you want, but you know what? You could just drink a glass of water and the fucking migraines will stop. So I want to find out what needs a glass of water versus just consistently trying to just take a bunch of pills. And so finding out the cause behind something is so incredibly important to an argument or making progress at all. You can't make progress if all you're doing is being like angry, angry, angry.
But to go back to your analogy, it's interesting both being, hey, why the hell are you throwing plates? But okay, you are expressing a feeling through
why are you throwing the
plates? Like,
exactly.
Why are you throwing the plates? And also, I need you to understand that this is not a productive way to deal
throwing
with
plates don't do shit.
The reason. Exactly.
There's better ways to communicate. There's better ways to be like, and I studied psychology a little bit when I was in college, but the thing that I always try to remind myself of is how can I convey what I feel better, right? Or because it's easy to come out and be like, I'm really mad that you didn't do this. And it's like, cool, that's never going to do anything because that's going to trigger that person. And again, I know that because of therapy. Instead, it's better to come out and be like, I feel this way. Stop involving the other person. If you feel some sort of way and you want progress, the only way you're going to get that is if all you do is communicate clearly how you feel.
Yes.
And what you need. If you can do those two things, one, the person on the other end of that isn't going to feel so attacked. They're not going to have to, responding traumas, whatever, or trauma triggering versus trauma triggering. You can instead be like, oh, my person is looking for help. They're looking for my help in this scenario. They want to communicate their wants and needs, not accuse me of all this shit I'm doing wrong. And I feel like in general, society has a really fucking hard time with that.
Yes.
Everybody just wants to point fingers and be like, everything's wrong because of this. And it's like, dude, you have just as much shit. And if we can both acknowledge our own shit, no one has to point fingers at anything. And
I think part of the problem is it's so easy to see the tree and not dig for the roots.
Okay, yeah.
And if you're not...
There's another analogy. Sorry, there's another analogy. It's you can't see the forest of the trees or some shit like that.
Yes.
It's very similar, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but if you're not able to look at why this thing is happening in a much deeper way than why it is being presented to you that this thing is happening, you're never going to understand.
No, and I feel like you have to understand if you... And this goes full circle with what you do, because the whole reason why I wanted to do this interview, I remember I posted and I was like, hey, who wants to do an interview? What do you want to talk about? You were like, I want to talk about education with neurodivergent students, right?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I love that. I am all about that. My wife is on the spectrum. I've got so much different shit going on. Like, I feel like there's a lot that can be said about that, and the fact that you, and I was like, I'm gonna ask her a question. No, I'm not. I don't want to ask any questions because I want this to happen organically. And I remember Kevin's here, he's taking photos with us. We sat down and we were all kind of just like shooting the shit while we kind of waited for the space to open up for us to do this interview. And I started asking questions and Kevin was like, no, stop talking. This is stuff you should talk about on camera. And I was like, that's such a great idea. And that's what we're doing now. This is all stuff that I wanted to immediately ask you about and be like, I want to be prepared for this podcast. And I was like, I don't want to be prepared for this podcast. I want it all to happen organically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, sorry, back to what I was saying was that understanding how all of these things work, how does that apply with educating the neurodivergent? Is that the way you say that? Okay, yeah.
So it's interesting because the student that I did a full report on, for an example, she has had a pattern of not showing up to class. She has tons of absences every year. She kind of skates the line of, you've missed too many classes, you have to repeat the year. And it is because she is avoiding things that are a challenge for her.
Got it.
If she comes up against something and she can't do it and she feels frustrated, instead of asking for help, she will just avoid it. She doesn't want to do it. And so looking past, okay, she's not showing up to school, and saying, hey, how do we help her break into this thing that is causing her a problem? How do we help deconstruct this wall that has been built for her around the subjects that challenge her? And she is lucky to have some really wonderful teachers who give her one-to-one support, care about her. She's in small group environments. She gets support from her peers, and we're working to help her figure out ways that she can make things feel less challenging. And so instead of blaming her for turning away, we help her find a reason to want to turn towards the thing that she's supposed to be learning.
That's awesome. I can't help but give a lot of credit to the teachers. Because again, I could not imagine teachers like that where I was growing up going to school. Sure, there's a couple that were really outstanding, but I don't know if they would ever would have gone through the rigmarole of advocating for a student like someone who's neurodivergent, who has issues with learning disabilities and stuff like that, to the point where they would go out of their way, which I guess accessibility is important too here, because if they had a pink-haired student that was coming through here to be like, I'm gonna help your students with issues, they might be like, that one right there, that motherfucker sucks. But it's I guess it goes. I guess there's credit to both of you, obviously, and then also the teachers, because I don't think you could do what you're doing if you didn't have teachers who cared.
Absolutely, because part of what we do with the information, we can make a list of, here's accommodations that this student can get that will help support them. You said that you are very much a visual person.
Yeah, I have to be.
So some of our students are that way, and so they get a typed out list of, here's what we're going to be talking about in class today. here's our
And the
word
teachers
bank.
do that?
Yep.
Do you think that the teachers, because my immediate thought was like, these teachers must have to work so much harder for that. But then immediately I think about it and I go, this is probably making their life so much fucking easier. They can type out a couple things and now they don't have to struggle bus with the student for the next year.
Yep.
Has to be a lot easier. I guess it's built into their job to work with the students every day. If all you have to do is work with them the right way and do it once, do it right, that has to be easier than doing it wrong 1,000 times.
Yes. And it can break down so much of that back and forth struggle. If I'm a teacher, I understand that you don't want to deal with something that's challenging you.
Right.
I maybe don't have the time to sit with you for an entire class period and break it down minute by minute.
But if you could do something the right way and present that information one time to them,
Exactly.
then they're set and they can kind of guide themselves at that point.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, how much longer do you have with your going to school for this?
2 years.
Another 2 fucking years.
Well, okay.
Jesus Christ.
1 year of class, and then I have 1 year of internship. So
Is internship different than what you're doing right now?
I will be essentially operating as a full school psychologist. I'll have a supervisor.
But for free. You're not getting like fully paid anyway.
No, yeah. It's
Okay.
like half or something. It's
Or is it going to be at the same place, or are you going to then be transferred to another place?
I can pick.
So that part you get to pick.
Yes.
Got it. This one you get to like ask for, but at the end of the day you get assigned.
I mean, it's kind of like applying for a job or applying for an internship. And I say, hey, these are my preferred locations. These are...
And the school has to want you.
Yes.
Okay.
However, there's like 125 schools in the DC public school system alone, and 27 school psych vacancies.
The DC area must be, it's not like we're in bumfuck Oklahoma where I grew up, where like these schools the fact that you have a university that's teaching this shit, and the fact that it's a dense populated area means you're going to have a lot of opportunities to utilize your education.
Yes.
It's not like you're not being sent out in the fucking boonies to do this shit. That's cool. I like that. Now, when you're done with your internship, is that internship is that where you just like a lot of internships, you just kind of roll over and go straight into full career at that same location, or where do you want to go?
It's a great question.
You're like, I have 2 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have loved being in DC. DC has one of the biggest Black population concentrations in the United States. It's 42% African American. Awesome. I know that statistic. I say it all the time. I love numbers.
It sounds like it's your favorite thing, yeah.
It is. I love numbers.
Good. Yeah.
And I have loved getting to interact with students who are so much like me and so different from me at the same time.
Yeah.
And my supervisor used so many nice words to say weird Black kids need representation.
I think that should be a slogan. I think that we tiptoe around like using words that perfectly describe what things are. Because like I have a Black son, and I remember I've gotten some looks every once in a while. I'm like, yeah, like I have like my son, he's Black, and they're like, you're gonna talk about it like that? I'm like he is. He's gonna know it. He looks different. His hair's different. He's darker complexion than us. He's got that beautiful melanin in it. He's a cuter baby than my babies were. That's a fact. I don't give a fuck. They can.
When I was born, they thought I was jaundiced.
Yeah, no, but like he is that thing. And if calling you a weird Black chick, and that's what you are, then fucking do that. And I don't. Yes. I think that there's beauty in the upfront.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you want to be that weird Black chick, be that weird Black chick. I don't filter myself around the people that I trust and feel comfortable around. So I do talk like that. I say things like, my son's Black, but in public, I'm like, oh yeah, beautiful child. They go, yes, he's adopted. In case you're wondering why we don't look the same, I didn't steal this baby. I bought him fair and square.
Oh yeah, like the good old days.
I promise. I can't even make out the jokes I want to make. I'll hit him less. No, than my white children. No, he's.
And that's reparations. That's what it's all about.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, no, he's gonna have some thick skin, and he's gonna be funny as fuck. He's gonna have to be.
Yes.
Yeah, in this household. Yeah. He's very loved. But yeah, there's gonna be some jokes.
Oh yeah.
For sure. I want to make sure. I think that's important too. You have to raise your kids to be able to have thick skin. I saw the comedian recently, the small person, dwarf, midget. I don't know the proper terms at this time. They seem to shift every couple years. But he's always in a little suit. He's fucking awesome. He's a comedian, and he was saying how when his father was raising him, he was like, "Hey, you're gonna get bullied, so I'm gonna make sure that you're ready to, you better be sharp And so I think about that all the time with like my kids. I'm like, my kids are going to get bullied. Not for any other reason other than that's just what fucking happens. You are either the bully or the bullied. And I'd rather my kids be bullied because that's one thing. They can be anything they want in this world. They will be kind. And if they're not, then they're going to be sore.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to beat them. I'm going to work them. That's the difference. That's the difference with my dad and I. I guess he did both. But I say it all the time, like, if my kid's going to get bullied, I at least want them to be thick-skinned, and I want them to be funny. So, like, I pick on my kids all the time. My wife and I pick on each other. My girlfriend and I pick on each other. It is our love language. I am mean to my favorite people. Z gets it every fucking day that we work together. I am so mean to her or them. And it's just what it is. I am mean. It's my love language. So I want my kids to make sure that when they grow up, some fucking random kid is going to pick on them and that's going to break them.
Yes.
I think that's really important.
Because it means that they have such a sense of their identity that someone else picking on the things that make them up will not make them abandon those things.
No. Yeah. And so I think that's awesome. I hope that Bo grows up knowing that people are going to make fun of him because he's the black kid in our family. Not that being black should be made fun of, but that he's obviously different from his siblings, and people are gonna make fun of him. The kids are fucking ruthless. They suck, and I want him to have thick skin so that he doesn't give a shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Ugh.
He's gonna be lucky.
Maybe. He might also just not like me very much.
Well,
he might have just naturally sensitive skin. We're gonna have to find out nature over nurture. No, but no, it's good. I hear you briefly mentioned it before we got started. You were like, I have some crazy stories about my middle school. And I was like, I'll hold on to that.
Yes.
What kind of crazy stories you got? And we don't drop names.
I won't.
For legal reasons. I don't want anybody coming after me.
On my little contract.
Okay, cool.
I'm careful.
Perfect. All right.
So, picture this. It is 3 weeks before the end of the school year, so the kids are getting wild. What
grade are these? Or is there a small
6th through 8th grade.
So it's a couple.
The kids in the spotlight of this story are 7th graders.
Okay.
Remember that they are 12.
Got it. I remember where I was when I was 12. Got it. Yeah.
So I'm having a meeting. We're talking about kids who have like detention hours that they got to finish before the end of the year.
It's an allocated number they have to finish?
No, like if kids have detention, we try not to let it roll over to the next school year.
That can happen? I was a good kid. I didn't know that. Okay, moving on.
I was also a good kid.
Okay, cool. They're just serving their criminal sentences after hours. That's insane.
We learned that one of our kids is not going to be finishing his detention hours because he'll be out for the remainder of the school year because he got arrested last night for carjacking somebody with a BB gun and then taking that car, picking up his friends, taking his friend for a joyride until they got arrested at 2:30 in the morning. He now has an ankle monitor and a probation officer. And I want you to remember that he has a probation officer because it's going to be relevant in a minute.
7th grader with a probation officer.
Yep.
Okay.
He's not the only one. One of the other ones is one of my favorite students. Shout out. Love him.
Okay.
He knows who he is.
Okay, got it.
Or maybe not. There's a couple.
Yeah. There's a whole grade of kids being like, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
I'm out in the building doing an observation. I hear screaming from down the hall. There's a fight. Whatever. None of my business. Middle schoolers fight.
Yeah.
I think none of my business. I am headed back to the main office to type up my little reports when they make an announcement that we're going into lockdown. Now, this is because during this fight, one of them drew blood, and so now technically it's assault.
Got it. Yeah.
The cops get called, as to their parents. One of their parents goes looking for the girl her daughter was beating up so she can get a couple good hits in. And because she's not authorized...
Hold on. The woman goes looking for the student that their kid was beating on, aka the winner of the fight or the instigator of the fight's mother went to go pick on the loser. Got it. Cool. That checks out. That makes a lot of sense. All right.
And because she's not authorized to be in the building.
Or beat on children.
Yeah. We're in lockdown.
A grown woman beating on a 7th grader. Got it.
And this mother is the probation officer of the kid who got arrested last night.
Hold on. There's so many things I have to wrap my head around. So the mother is the probation officer, which means she works within child problems. Her child is the instigator / winner of said fight. That's a whole thing. And then, wow. Okay. And the child that has a probation officer is in the fight or no?
Nope, not even there today.
Okay. Got it. Cool.
All of this happens before noon on a Wednesday.
I mean, that checks out, yeah.
And then I had to host an event an hour later about advocating for mental health for the students.
While the school's still in lockdown?
Oh, they got out of lockdown.
What happened to the the mother?
I actually don't know. I think she was escorted out by the cops.
That's it? But did she hit the kid?
No. But the mother of the other kid is the probation officer of a different kid in the school, and the two of them used to work together, hate each other. If either knows that the other one is in the building, they're going to scrap. And so our school social worker is trying so hard to keep each of them from knowing the other one is there while the building's in lockdown.
We don't have these problems in small town Oklahoma. That's cool. We had a kid who got arrested for, I don't even remember, and he cleaned urinals.
Oh.
That was it. That's about as crazy as it got. No, that's not true. We had some other stuff, but we had, oh God, here, we'll go into it.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I don't even care. I'll drop his fucking name. Coach Taha he was a coach. You already know how this story ends.
I'm worried.
Yeah, he slept with all of the female students.
Oh, fun.
Because again, we're talking like super small school, like graduate with like 20 to 30 people is insanely small school. And slight exaggeration, maybe each class was always different, but it was pretty close to that. And he taught volleyball, softball, basketball, all female. And he only got caught because there was a student who graduated high school and he didn't run away with her. He didn't leave his also stunning wife, which is insane, to go be with this 19-year-old, 18-year-old girl. And so she broke down and was like crying, and her dad found out, and then the whole thing. So it turns out he was sleeping with all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, he had quite the collection. And then fast forward a couple years later, yeah, quite the collection. It's very distasteful. Gross man. I don't think his time was that serious because a couple years later, I'm selling Honda at the time. I'm just a car salesman. And a tire rolls off of a fucking trailer and comes crashing into one of our cars. And I go out to look at it, and this truck pulls up, and out walks Coach fucking Taha. I was like, he's not in jail? How the fuck is this not? He slept with nothing but underage students for years.
Insane.
Yeah, well, welcome to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Never been, never going.
Don't. It fucking sucks. And if you're listening to this and you're from Oklahoma, you should get out. You should do what I did. Jesus. Yeah, no.
Escape. It's not too late.
It's not too late. It's actually, if you're listening to this, you probably know me. And if you know me and you're still there, it's too late. You're not ever getting out. You've laid your roots. You're stuck. I say that, but then I drive out there like twice a year to see my family. So,
well,
yeah, I love it. It's like California. It's great to visit.
Yeah.
If you know people. If you don't know people, don't go there.
Yeah.
It sucks to live there, and it sucks to visit if you don't know anybody. Oklahoma, you have two options. You can drink, fuck or fight, or do crazy drugs. So, glad to be out of there.
Fun. Sounds like a great vacation.
No, when I'm visiting family, it's not those things. It's mostly just hanging out and playing board games. We play a lot of board games in our family.
What is your favorite board game to play with your family?
So if we're in Oklahoma and we're playing with my family, my cousin Kale is kind of like the game spot. So like he's got closets of shit, and he's got a game. I don't even know the name. It doesn't come in a real box. It's like this plain white box. It's huge. It opens up. It's got a bunch of parts in there. I don't know the name of it. I'm pretty sure it's like a dark market game board. I genuinely have no fucking idea what it is, but it's awesome. But if I'm at home, my girlfriend and I like to play this game we call Snakes, but it's actually called Snakes of Wrath. It's a two-person game. It requires a little bit of strategy and very little thought outside of that. It's like dominoes.
Love.
But snakes. And then Kate, my wife, and I, we like to play, her favorite is Ticket to Ride, which we call Trains.
I love Ticket to Ride.
Fuck that game. That game sucks.
I'm so good at it. I'll whoop your ass.
I'll put you up against Kate. She's memorized it. That's her level of weird spectrum, is that she can memorize any kind of board game. She nails that fucking shit. There's no point playing Trains with her. It's fucking stupid. But I'm big on this game. We call it Birds, and
is it Wingspan?
Yes! I always forget what it's called. I'm always like, I don't know. We just call it Birds. It's got the nicest box.
You have snakes, trains, and birds.
That's my level of weird. But The box is it feels so nice. The bags feel so nice.
It's beautiful.
The card game, they have expansions for it.
A fun fact about me is that I've taken some classes in game design. A few years ago, went to PAX and got to pitch some board games to people. Like,
I want to go to PAX. I know we're both D&D fans, so we can top on it a little bit, but otherwise this interview will be like 18 hours long. But I've never been to PAX.
Oh my God. I have been 4 years in a row. I've never paid to go. I've been... Okay, my first year I was in a game design class and my professor pitched it to the university that it would be a great experience for us all to go.
So they paid for it?
Yeah, they paid for it.
Fucking
second year,
amazing.
I went and gave a lecture in said game design class about how to pitch a game successfully.
And so you got to do that at PAX?
I gave it to the class and got paid in PAX badges.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
The third year, I was a panelist at PAX.
Doing what?
It was a panel about minority identity and storytelling in tabletop gaming.
That checks out.
Yeah. And then this year, I was a special guest as a storyteller, so a professional game master.
PAX was just recently. My buddy Dave was just there and he got some new dice. But we'd been hosting, and you know a little bit about this. We've been hosting D&D here at the shop every Tuesday night for over a year and a half, and we just finished up not even a month ago. We just finished up our 1.5 year long campaign, RIP. But he went to PAX, and I was like, dude, I wish you would fucking told me. I was in Virginia, but I would have loved to have gone.
Yes.
I've never been, though. Never been.
It's such a blast.
I'm afraid that if I go, my wife would leave me for how much money I probably would spend.
Well, so PAX East has video games and like a little board game section. Mm-hmm. PAX Unplugged in Philly is exclusively board games and
it's
TTRPG.
Unplugged, yeah. So my favorite thing in the world is D&D. Mm-hmm. I love D&D more than I love my children. I love D&D more than I love tattooing. I love D&D more than anything. If I could get paid to just DM, I would do that for the rest of my life. I don't even care how much it pays. Well, actually, one of the reasons why I started this podcast was because I'd already been investing and looking into what it would take to do my level of D&D, my type of DMing and stuff like that as a podcast. And so I'd been looking into it for like a fucking year, which, by the way, I came up with a name. We used that name. We practiced our intros and everything for that game for like the last 6 months of our campaign, just to find out the fucking name had been taken.
No!
I did so much research. I was like, oh, it wasn't taken. And then I just randomly Googled it the other day, and I was like, shut the fuck up. It's been taken all this time.
That's so tragic.
Yeah. So RIP to that. But yeah, no, I a goal of mine is to not just have this podcast, which this podcast is more for me. I just want to recreate conversations that I have every day, the connection that I have with clients. But I want to also have a D&D podcast that's strictly audio. It's not visual. I listen to nothing but D&D podcasts.
Oh, I love
Glass Cannon Network, fucking GCP, my fucking favorite. Dungeons and Daddies was really great.
I love Dungeons. The first season.
Yeah, I was gonna say
first season only. Sorry.
Fuck the second season if you're gonna watch it. The second season is trash. They have a third season, but I refuse to watch it because the second one I struggled
like
through.
It was goofy with heart the first season, and I feel like it lost the heart the second season, and it was just kind of your college buddies' joke characters that they bring to the table.
Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. But GCP, if you don't listen to Glass Cannon Network, I did some research, and this might also be why I really want to get into it. I don't think I'm going to do it this well, but the Glass Cannon Network is worth like several $1 million. They have like 28 people on their roster, and that includes all of the people that are characters and DMs, and a lot of the characters DM in different groups, but they play every day of the week in different groups as different settings, as different like I might be a DM for I might be DM on Wednesday and Friday, but the rest of the week I'm playing as a different character in a different campaign as a different role playing. They did the Travelers. It's a tabletop. It was I'm gonna fucking forget all the information, but essentially it was like character creation is in a book, and you roll. And it's like, okay, you start at this age as this type of thing. And then you're like, okay, you have choices from there. And you roll on a table. And it's like, oh, do I want to go to university or not? And you roll on that. And then if you fail, your character can die in character creation.
Oh my God.
It's Travelers. And I really want to invest in Travelers simply because of how well they played it. But they do Androids and Aliens, which is based off of the, not Pathfinder, Space Finder.
Yes.
Starfinder. Yeah, Starfinder. Yes. Yeah, really want to get into that. But again, you have to spend months just reading into the lore of Starfinder just to be able to play it. But I don't know anybody that's like that hardcore into it yet. But I would love to do that shit as a podcast. But I think the players make somewhere between like $120,000 a year salary, and the main guy who like runs the whole thing, he makes like $400,000 a year.
Oh my God.
But even their audio guys and their video, or just their guys who run like marketing and stuff like that, make upwards to like $90,000 a year.
Incredible.
Doing just fucking D&D shit. Tabletop RPGs. But
Yes.
I want to do that so fucking bad. And that's kind of why I like got into this. This is obviously much more portable, much smaller,
Yes.
much easier. So it's kind of like me testing the waters. But I want to DMs professionally so fucking bad.
My longest campaign is still ongoing.
Yeah.
We took a break, but they just all messaged me and were like, so if
Is
you're
it all-
free this summer.
Is it in person or is it
We play online because
Discord?
sometimes Discord, sometimes Zoom, because one of our friends is in Ohio.
Got it.
But we have been playing since 2022.
That's too
beginning
long.
of the year.
It's too long. I like to keep my campaigns to a year, roughly. Year and a half was pushing it, but even that felt really natural.
Yeah.
But I liked it because I love creating stuff. It's kind of like rearranging your furniture in the living room. I have to do it
Yes.
every so often. My ADHD, my whatever needs change.
Mm-hmm.
So like being able to kill a character and move on is one of my favorite things in the world.
Oh, I have all my little side projects, so I can do that
Yeah.
for myself.
Okay, cool.
We'd only play every like 3 months because we were all in
No,
college.
kill
and
me.
the
I would
schedule was
never
a
do that.
disaster.
That would be horrible. I couldn't do that. That's crazy.
I worked 2 full-time jobs in undergrad.
Yeah.
I would
How
be
do
like, okay, 3.5 Saturdays from now, we can hang out.
I see. For me, so commitment is like a big thing. Repetition. So like I was talking to you before the interview about I saw a cognitive behavioral therapist. That was the
Yes.
only way for me to deal with all the concussions and head traumas. I have horrible long-term, short-term memory. If I don't do something the same way every single day or the same week or whatever, I lose all repetition and I'll never do it again. So like for me, D&D was every Tuesday night from 6 to 11. For a year and a half, and it was but if I didn't have that repetition, I don't know if I could have stayed as committed in the act of like storytelling and everything like that. I don't know if I could do that.
No,
That'd be
that makes
hard.
sense.
You see, instead of teaching neurodivergent students, you need to learn how to, or I guess also learn how to help neurodivergent adults do things like play their favorite board games.
Yes.
How are we gonna get this? Because if you're playing D&D as an adult, you're neurodivergent.
Yes.
You're not fucking normal.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with you. It
Yes.
has to be. That you want to roll dice and use funny little voices with your
Yep.
best friends who are also in their 30s or 40s.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my problem is I GM. I love doing it.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a control freak.
Yes, same.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. But I only have about 3 voices in my arsenal, and it's gotten to the point that I introduced a character, and within 3 seconds, one of my players went, "Oh no, it's the Jamie's voicing a bitch voice."
I do a lot of like raspy, like UK like voice, and then I have like a squeakier version of that. But most of my voices are pretty similar. I have a trick. So I can create unique voices, but only for main character stuff. But it means I have to like spend a long time creating the character. And this might be useful for you and for anyone else who's listening. The best way for me to toggle between characters, especially because like I have long-time characters that I've played. I have like Lemony Frazier, Lucius Lafleur, Bastion, all these different characters. I have Grime, all these characters. The best way to get into their voice is to say their name the way they say it. So it's always like they always introduce themselves, and so you can toggle between that. Or for Grime, for instance, it's not his name, but it's a saying that he always says is "Oh no," and it's a cool thing that I can just do. And you'll see me. I'll be like, "Hold on, I'm gonna play as Grime." And I'll be like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Oh hey everybody," and you get to do that voice. Or like Lucius Lafleur was always like, he said, "Oh you cheeky devil." And he was this tiefling character. And then you'd have Percy Belvedere. He goes, "Oh, hello there, Percy Belvedere." So like they all have these very similar tones, but they're the way they say their name is different.
Yeah.
And Orengrin. And so like
Incredible.
so you get to like toggle into these different characters, and these different voices, and these different personalities through the way they say their name or their slogan.
My other problem is that when I play, I exclusively, I'm a fun little like whimsical, magical girl.
I would use the word whimsical to describe you. Yeah,
Thank you.
100%.
It's my favorite. I exclusively play massive tanks.
Okay, got it. Yeah. And I like playing the super flirtatious, androgynous, like bard-like characters.
Yeah.
Or the super nobler than shit clerics. He's like, I will do the right thing, always.
I'm currently playing an Oath of Glory paladin who's a jousting champion.
Okay.
And his
does he have like a special mounting? Like, do you go through like mount and all that or no?
We're not currently using mounts for our adventure, but what he does have is like giant pole arms. I love a pole arm. Shout out. If I ever get to have a halberd, my life will be made. One time I got to hold a claymore and it was bigger than me and it made me so happy.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. It's fun because we were, I like how this has turned into a D&D thing now.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, this is the problem that if I start talking about D&D, I'll never shut the fuck up. Z is one of my favorite people to ever have played D&D with. And the reason why is because Z had very little experience, but enough experience to understand like character building and all that stuff. But what I did was I read this book called Proactive DMing, or Proactive Roleplay. I have it in the back. I'll show you so you can look at it. But it changes how you DM. And one of the things, instead of being reactive, so like they do something, you're like, okay, now you have an option between this and this. Instead, you can kind of like steer behind the scenes and play into your character creation was different. Instead of being like, let's create a character, I said, come up with a concept of a goal that your character might be. And so for like Z was like, my character wants to find his lost love. I'm like, okay, cool. And wants to rebuild their toy shop. You know, one of them's like, I want to make my father proud. One of them is like, I want to find my parents. These concepts. And then we build from there. And the last thing you do is roll stats and pick a race and class. It's the last thing. And it was so awesome. But Z, they play so well. They created their first character. And they poured every bit of themselves into it, and then I murdered them. I murdered them, and I made Z cry. And then every time I brought it up, I made Z cry again. And it was one of my favorite things. Characters who pour themselves into that, there's one of two things. You either make your character like you, or you make your character opposite. Yeah. Patrick, same thing. He made himself.
Shout out Patrick.
I love Pat. Oh, you did that?
Wait, did you not know this?
I probably did. I forget everything. Pat
since first grade. We used to do children's theater together.
I used to do theater. I try to go to as many as Pat's, him and his girlfriend, their plays as possible.
I love her.
She's amazing. She's the cutest. They just bought a house.
Oh my God, no way.
They just bought a house.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, like a week ago they bought a house, and it's beautiful. Good for them. But anyway, Patrick, he was like, I'm gonna play a pacifist cleric where all he does is heal. And I was like, that's wild. And of course, Patrick, the sweet, good old boy, golden retriever of a human being, was like, I will not hurt anyone. And he played this super peaceful character. But then we made his second character, he's like, I'm Cromwell Lysander and I bash heads. And he made a fully melee character. And halfway through, he's like, I miss Sam. I miss my baby boy. And I was like, bring him back, dude, bring him back. Yeah, so.
My proudest accomplishment ever as a game master, I run a lot of horror games.
Yeah.
Something that I
haven't done that before, by the way.
Something you may not know by looking at me. My favorite movie of all time is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love gore, I love horror, I love all things spooky and nasty.
Okay.
I'm working on a horror novel right now.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact about me. My proudest ever accomplishment as a GM is making all three of my players gag at the same time.
Ugh. It's cool. I want to experience more as a player. So, but that's hard too, especially as a perfectionist and a control freak. Anytime that I play under someone else, and it's always been like our buddy Phil or my wife or whatever, and I'm always like, I'm not satisfied. I want more, or I expected more. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we get there and it's like, okay, what's the catch? And there's like, there is none. You just did it. I'm like, come on. Write something better, create something better, right? Like if this was a movie, would that have been satisfying to watch after investing 8 months of time? No, do better. Yep. And so I want to find a community and build a community. Like Z is looking into DMing for the first time ever. They bought this fucking pre-written pirate campaign. And I'm like, I've never done that, but good for you. That's if that's what you think you can do, go bonkers. And when they're done tattooing today, they're actually going to start like labeling their books. And I was going to sit down with them and help them out a little bit. But I have a really strong feeling that Z, especially after watching how Z deep dives and like fully commits. I mean, Z was crying, yelling, sacrificing themselves in a way that they truly immerse themselves in their characters. That I believe that Z is going to be a fucking great DM. And that's the kind of people that I want to surround myself with. And I want to experiencing more D&D shit or not even, I say D&D, but role-play games. I want to play different styles of role-playing, and I want to fully commit to those things. But I want to do it with people that are just as dedicated. It's like, if you were like, yo, Rooster, I'm going to do a 2-month-long thing while I'm here in the summer. We're going to do horror shit. It's going to be every Thursday at blah, blah, time. I'll be like, I'm clearing my schedule. I will cancel appointments.
I'm making a note of that.
I'm so down. I will commit. Yay! If I commit, I fucking fully commit. My schedule's a little crazy right now, but let me know. I've also never done, so this is, and we'll end after this because I feel like we've got a good interview here.
Yes.
You mentioned that you do like Discord and Zoom calls. That is really hard for me, and the reason, and then we did it a couple times with our buddy Tony, with our podcast, or not with our podcast, but with our D&D campaign, where a couple nights he just couldn't make it. You know, being a dad, it happens. And so we would call him in. And it's just so hard. I feel like there's such a disconnect. And I'm having the same issue with this podcast where I'm like, I really want to interview a lot of really cool people, but I'm also torn between that, like, I want to keep it in person because I feel like I'm going to lose that connection if I don't have it in person. It's going to feel too much like a phone call, or, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you have that issue when you do your D&D stuff virtually?
Sometimes a tiny bit. We play, that's something that Zoom is nice for, is being able to see each other's faces anyway.
And it toggles to the person talking.
Yes.
That's such a good idea. I've never thought of using Zoom for that.
Or you can have it on gallery view and be able to watch everyone's reactions to something that someone is saying. If I have campaign art, I can screen share it and we can feel like we are in the world.
If you have campaign art?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying like dropping like a app or something like that. Okay, cool.
Or if you use Roll20, you have your physical characters in the space.
You can move them?
Yeah.
Do you have to pay for that?
I don't know.
You never use it?
No.
You're just dropping it in case you want to get sponsored before you start your next campaign?
Yes.
In case this podcast makes it to everybody listening.
My sister, 5 days a week, she is in a game.
No
she
shit.
has this like network.
Sugar daddy? It sounds like she has a sugar daddy. Because if I could play 5 games a week, God bless.
Yep.
I'd show a couple feet. I'd show some toes for 5 days a week. Of D&D.
Roll20, Rooster will show you his feet.
I will show you my fucking feet if you let me play my favorite thing in the world 5 days a week.
And so she is always up in there, and I've gotten to watch her use it before.
Yeah, and it looks cool. It's awesome.
It's such a cool tactile way to do it. And one of my favorite things before we wrap up, there are so many ways to make gaming in a physical space accessible for people with extra needs. I ran a game recently for a woman who was visually impaired. She has dice that read aloud to her.
No fucking shit.
They Bluetooth pair to her phone and they tell her, you just rolled a 9. And so I was able to, I had printed materials, I read some stuff aloud to her. We were able to like scribe for her and make sure that everything was all set. And then her dice, she had Braille dice and she had dice that would read to her.
That's fucking sick.
It's incredible. One of my fellow GMs has live captioning software, so hard of hearing participants or people who have auditory processing issues.
It just reads it out on them.
It shows them
so
exactly
virtually,
what's being said.
so this is cool, especially because I feel like even just you talking about the like Roll20 and even just Zoom, I feel like that makes the game so much more accessible, especially to people like you're saying, like that are like more impaired. Is that the right term? Is it impaired? Okay, I don't fucking know. I'm from Oklahoma where we say all the wrong things. I'm learning. It makes it more accessible to people of all different walks of life and even the impaired and stuff like that. I wonder if that also ties and bodes well with if I wanted to do this as a podcast, like doing D&D or whatever, as a podcast, having that ability to like have everybody's faces all at the same time. Obviously you want to do like more professional mics and stuff like that. But like, I wonder if that is something that I should look into. Is like, even if doing it in the same room, but having it virtual. So we have the ability to capture every person's face.
I was in an actual play and we used Zoom for it, for recording, and we had mics that plugged in and everything, but it was it was much nicer.
I'll have to hit you up when it comes time for me to like deep dive into that. And if I am going to have everybody on fucking computers and fucking cameras and nice mics and stuff like that, at that point, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're in the same living room or not. That's awesome. Fuck yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome. Wonderful.
It's cool because like, I know like when I did, Kevin's interview and stuff like that, I'm like, we talked about so many different fucking things. And I know that we came in here with the intention to talk about neurodivergent teachings and learning and stuff like that. But it's awesome that we were able to like cover so many different bases because that's how real organic conversations happen. And it feels good to This is my second. Obviously, I'll release them in different orders. I'm sure you probably won't be the second. Kevin probably won't be the first, whatever. I'll put it out to whatever order makes sense. But it makes me feel reassured that like this podcast is something that it's exactly what I want it to be. Yes. I want it to feel organic, and I want it to feel like just two friends having a conversation, or me and a client having a conversation for fucking 7 hours while I tattoo them. This feels good. Also, I'll make sure to post a picture of your tattoo on here as well. That's how we met originally. We tattooed your elbow, and then we tattooed a really cool little...
I'll hike it up and show the people.
Ooh! I'll post it up in there. That was one of my flash pieces from when I first switched to color and like more neo-traditional.
And I absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I came in like in May.
That was before you left us for DC.
I know, I'm so sorry.
I'm not. So I've been going down to, my girlfriend's in Virginia, so I've been going down there a lot, and I've been doing guest spots out there. So if you're looking to get a tattoo, let me know.
I will hit you up.
I will be posting up, I know you got a lot of, especially with school, you're going to be, money's tight, I get that. But let me know. If you ever want to get some work done while I'm down there, I'm happy to help you out.
Absolutely. I would be so honored.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
It's so great to see you. I'll hug you afterwards, but
yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I am Rooster Quade, and
I'm Jamie Roballo.
And we are On One. Peace. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time in your busy day to listen to Shoot the Shit. It means everything to all of us here at the On One podcast. Now, if you liked what you listened to and you want to help us out, give us a like, a comment, or even just share with a friend. And if you'd like to join us on set, please feel free to message us on Instagram @OnOnePod. We'd love to work with you. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.